All right, Israel. Most High Christ bless everybody. All right, so all praises to the Most High Israel for giving us the spirit to come here and fellowship. Check that. Keep His commandments and learn what His will is. Um, Two things. We need to finish up the Sabbath day. We didn't go through the second part of the Sabbath in the New Testament pertaining to Messiah. But there's a question that arose, which is a good question about the Sabbath day. So I have to go back to the beginning, to the creation. So in Genesis, the first chapter, we're going to make it, it should be fairly simple and easy to be understood. It's pertaining to the light. So when we finish this, we should all have the same scriptural understanding about the Sabbath. So Genesis chapter 1 and verse 1 says, "In the beginning God created the heaven and the earth." So we got to get our answer from the scriptures and not from the nations. Now I was going to go into the creation of the earth in verse 2. The earth was without form. So was it square, circle, or triangle? It was without any shape or form. It says it was without form and void. So that means that there was nothing there. And darkness was upon the face of the deep. The deep well, it'll tell us what the deep was. And the Spirit of the Most High moved upon the face of the waters. So what was the deep? The deep was waters. So the thing that you'll call an earth was completely in liquid form, according to scripture. And there was nothing else there. It had no form, and it was void. Conference call, mute your phone. Whenever y'all join the conference, because you can't make it, you don't have to announce where you at, your name and stuff. Just go ahead and mute the call, because what happens is you forget it, and then we get a lot of feedback, and I'm sitting here struggling with the feedback from the call. So stay with me. And God said, "Let there be light." And there was light. So at this point, the glow that you see coming in, that's what happens. The thing that you see coming in through the Yeah, you can unplug that. Just take one of them out. The light that you see coming in through the window, that's what happened. That thing, bam, it illuminated. Everything illuminated. And God saw the light, that it was good. And God divided the light from the darkness. So everything was completely dark and void. There was not a flicker, a flint, a spark. You were in complete blackness to where, with us, our naked eye, there was no visibility at all. So what did he do? He put the light beneath the darkness. He separated it. So one part is dark, one part has got what you see coming in. That's light. And God, well, when you read in the Hebrew, it'll talk about the powers, because it was the Christ and the angels that worked for the Most High that did the work. So we'll just keep it in perspective. And God called the light day. So anytime you see light, that is day right there. That's why it's called daylight. And the darkness, what is the darkness? The darkness is completely without, is void, is without light. It doesn't have a flicker, flint, spark, nothing in it. He called night. When your day has light in it, it is day. We ain't dealing with Esau. Esau is a squirrel, man. He ain't even a squirrel. He even didn't exist. He is a demon. Don't bring him in this. We're not talking about how he see things, and you got to turn it down there. He's not a factor. He's not a factor. We got to relearn and unlearn and get rid of this dude here. It's what the scriptures say. When there's light, that's called day. The light does diminish. From very bright and it's going away because it's telling you something. It's telling you that it's going into night. It's going into what you call even. But if there's light, it ain't made it there yet. Oh, it's there. And the even, also known as what? Night. Also known as what? Darkness. And the morning, also known as what? Light. Also known as what? Day. Were the first day. Now, what's missing that confuses a lot of people? The sun. He ain't even on the scene yet. So if you don't bring him on the scene, you get your answer from the color of the sky. When it's dark, it's evening. When there's light, that's still daylight. People say, I see daylight. I see it over there. That's still daylight. I see it over there. I see it behind me. Because it doesn't just happen like that. It's a gradual process by the plan of the Most High, not your plan. You might be prepared already. Somebody else might be unprepared. They need that last tick, 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 tick. Oh, it's ticking. You better have tick, 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 tick. Hey. Oh, shit. How much time you got? Look, you look like you got about 5 more minutes. You look like you got about 5 more minutes. It's getting there. That's that. Sun, nowhere involved. You do not use the sun to calculate when the even comes. The sun plays no precedence. There are days when the sun doesn't show his light, period. So then what? That means you're in the evening already? It doesn't play a factor. We get infiltrated with fables and sayings from sunset. You better be out of here by sunset. When's the sunset? The sun is going down. When the sunrise. And so when those things get embedded in us, that will be instilled as a doctrine inside of our minds. We got to come back to the beginning and get the answer. What is it?
I was just gonna say real quick, like based on what we're saying, when you really examine when the Sabbath come in, the sun always be gone before the Sabbath actually begins. The sun be already set, and what be left is what he's speaking of, the light that the Most High called day. So that's why he's saying what he's saying based on what we're reading, because the sun really don't play a factor at all. The sun be long gone, and the light will be left be what the Most High called day.
Now, there are some places that hold daylight for a very long time. And because it holds daylight for a very long time, you'd be like, isn't it time for the Sabbath then yet? Like, what's up with this? It ain't. And when the sky's black, that's when it is. Just because you still hold, the sky still holding light, that's the Most High. That is the Most High, right there. I know personally the longest lasting sky that I've seen, it might have been about 9:45. Between 9:45 going on 10 o'clock at night. It was a sky in Ohio. I was very, very surprised. And I ain't talking about, something. There's a wickedness in Israel. There's a wickedness out here to where people be, they still want to do something. And so they trying to call the darkness day. Like, oh, it ain't Sabbath yet, so they could do something. No, this guy was still like, it was still like 7 o'clock in the evening, man. It was still light. 7, 8 o'clock. It was 9:45. Anybody ever seen a long sky?
In Eastern Europe, yeah, it was one to like 11:30.
You know, in Alaska, it be at like for 6 months and it be dark for 6 months.
Yeah, I thought about that, but I wasn't even finna try and address. I wasn't even finna try to address that. You know what I'm saying? That's just gonna bring in more mind-boggling. That's a situation that, I will have to try and bring a conclusion to that, bro. How you do that? Right? I know about the Alaska thing. That's on them and the Lord. I'm here. I'm gonna deal with what I got to deal with. Jeez. So, what'd you say, about 11:30?
Yeah, 11:30, and then in the wintertime, the lights start coming like around 5 o'clock in the morning.
So they still got a short night then.
They got a short night in the summertime.
Okay. Right. And to, I guess, to help people out, that's why they go spring forward and fall backwards with the time. So did it go back yet? Not yet. So this fall, which is like here, this fall time will go backwards. Yeah. Excuse me. Then next spring, they'll set it forth. It's playing God. So, they offer that. So I hope that, because I hope that kind of answers, that situation about that. So now let's go with what the Messiah said. Matthew. So bookmark this, and then I want to address another Old Testament situation. In Deuteronomy 28, pertaining to the Sabbath. How many of us have to work on the Sabbath in here? Raise your hand. You have to work on the Sabbath in here. Raise your hand. Okay. It's good. Nobody up here. Maybe somebody on the lower level. But that's extremely, extremely good. All praises to the Most High. But at the same time, let me tell you why you're not working on the Sabbath. The Most High opened it up and gave it to you. But you were taught. You were taught about the Sabbath, what it does for you, what it should mean unto you and the Most High, how it be a sign. And then also you were taught to use it as a time to rest and restore yourself. But you were taught. And that means so much. Look at the rate. Look at the sacrifice. I just saw tremendous progress. Look at the sacrifice that each and every last one of you have done. Now just imagine what's happened when your turnover ratio is the same way, the same thing, to where you are teaching others and being instrumental, and then many other things in their life. Look at the change. Just think about the success that's going to come from the work that you put in them and that they're going to do. You're not setting them up for failure. You're setting them up for success because they took the counsel, they applied the scriptures. So when we get into this the first covenant, the Old Testament, which I'm not saying the things are not viable and we're not subject to it. There's a lot that we are subject to. Deuteronomy chapter 28 and 43, the stranger that is within thee shall get above thee very high, and thou shalt come down very low. So coming down very low makes you want to get yourself up. If the strangers that are around us is very high, you know the prices are set based upon the strangers, not based upon the people that are of a lower state. Therefore, even though you might not be able to live next to the strangers or in the same places, you got to shop at the same stores. Pack of meat costs you the same that it costs them. And that's one thing that makes our people try and justify eating swine because it's cheap. Instead of eating top choices of beef, cuts of lamb. So you keep that in mind. You being around a very high situation. The cost of living is high. The cost of an automobile costs you the same as it costs them. It hurts you more because you're very low. He shall lend to thee, and thou shalt not lend to him. You don't have anything to give. So you're always trying to get. He shall be the head, and thou shalt be the tail. He's in front. You're always a day late and $1 short and coming in last. Getting everything used, second and third hand. And we're forced to call these plagues curses. Or we're forced to call these curses blessings. I'm sorry. Yeah. Moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee, and shall pursue thee, and overtake thee, until thou be destroyed. So as a people, we are destroyed, because thou hearkenest not unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to keep his commandments and his statutes, which he commanded thee. So why did this happen? Because we didn't want to keep the laws. So whenever you have a problem with keeping the laws, always know for sure that that's the reason why you're in the condition that you're in. You don't like your housing, you don't like your transportation, you don't like your finances, it's got everything to do with the laws. Stop breaking the laws. Because what you're doing is adding a bigger sentence to what's going on. Just say you in the prison system, you in jail. You in jail. And you in there cutting up, clown, and fighting. They add more time to you. And you never stop. They're going to add more time to you. There's always somebody to work a shift. There's going to always be somebody to supervise. Nobody's going to hand you the key to get out of those jail cells. You're going to be there. You're going to keep adding insult to the injury. Their time is going to keep adding up. So in this truth, the Lord said in Sirach, Bind not one sin upon another, for in one thou shalt not go unpunished. So while you're in the midst of all of this, every time you offend the Lord and you're not repentant or nor bringing forth a permanent change, you're subject to add more time to a bad situation. Did you know that? More time to a bad situation. A few weeks ago, we talked about doing tabernacles. How did Israel get 40 years in one of the worst times of their life? Because they were cutting up and climbing. But every day they spent searching out the land of Egypt, I was searching out the land of Canaan, and they brought back a slanderous report against the land. It was a good land. They got a year for every day. Every day they cut up and climbed, they got a year. A sentence was a year. And that's how they ended up 40 years in the wilderness. So what if you cutting up every day and you're on like a 10-year spree? 365 days times 10. That's your life. You're going to never come up out of this hell that you dug yourself into. You know what the Most High said about a person like that? What type of person did he call him? About never being reproved? No. Opprobrious. A person with opprobrious words. And opprobrious is like you are a scornful, hateful, rebellious, stubborn, demonic person that like you just be railing and going off. The scripture says you would never be reproved. The Lord he will not allow you to come up out of that. None of your life. That's a sentence. You have a lifetime possession of demons on you. Now I'm gonna get some messages. Is this gonna happen to me? Is this happening to me? Is this what I'm going through? Hey, you know how you prove that you're supposed to fear the Most High? I try to lead by example. And so I tell people this is what I would do. Somebody called me the other day. It was about the Sabbath day. Something like that. They was like, well, I want to know, what would you do? You hit me with that one, huh? You know, what would I do, huh? I'm not in the position. You know, on the Sabbath day, you know, I got my 13s on one end of the couch and my head on the other one. You know, I'm pretty much resting. So, you know, I can't give you a license to sin, but what would I do? And then, after much fear, and I had to think about this. You know, you're going to starve and be without food and soon to be homeless. You got to take the job and then look for something else. So far on this floor, I don't know what they did in the basement. The rate was 100% because that's what we teach. 100% positively rate to where people are resting on the Sabbath day. That's all praises to the Most High. That's excellent, man. Don't get no better than that. That's excellent. That's extremely good. So this person here, they could do the same thing because everybody at one point in time was not always like that. There were some people that possibly had to, and we're going to get into the scriptures pertaining to that. But you don't want to keep getting sentenced. That's what you need to fear. That's what I fear. That's what I do. When I'm into a situation where things ain't right, I fear. I'm like, okay, I don't want to be messing up. I don't want no trouble. I don't want want things to go bad, let me change what I'm doing. Let me change how I'm feeling. Let me change how I'm thinking. Now, there are people that will do what they're going to do, but that's why I always encourage you to remove yourself from a person that's agitating you and irritating you. Ask for the time. Say, hey, respectfully, I just need some space. I'm going to talk to you in a minute. But so that you don't cross the line and can be fearless, because you're not stronger than the Most High. You gotta ask. You gotta try and get away from them spirits that are trying to entangle you with someone else. And so when we go through precepts about being offended, we'll address some of those things too. But for now, when we didn't listen to his commandments or the statutes, statute is a dwelling point, a limitation on what you could do, how far you can go. Those are the statute. That's a statute right there. You get on the highway, the fastest you should be able to go on the city highway is probably 60 miles an hour, 60, 65. And the slowest is what? 40. So you can go between 40 and 60. That's the statute. If you're going 25 miles an hour, you are hazardous. People are going too fast for you. They can't adjust. They're going to run into you. You're not going fast enough. You get a ticket. You're in transgression. If you're going too fast, then you get a ticket. You're hazardous. People can't adjust to that type of speed that you're going. That's why they give you speeding tickets. That's a statute. So there's a limitation on what you can do within laws before you break those laws. You can be at the minimum and you can go all beyond, but you cannot go past the statute. Like we talking about the statute. Even though the sun goes away and takes his light with him, the light that God said, let there be light, that statue, once that light begins to diminish, you need to be wrapping up. So, because you have to be between light and dark, not after dark. If you go after dark, then you have transgressed the statute. Okay? And they shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder. What is the curses? Lack of success. You being jacked up. Certain things not going your way. You're not having success. Your way is not prosperous. So it's going to be upon us for a sign and for us to think about. That's what the wonder is. Oh, I wonder why is this happening unto me? Why my feet hurt? Why this hurt? Why I'm broke? Why I'm poor? Why this? Why I can't have the best job? Why ain't God looking out for me? You should wonder why. And then you need to examine your choices. You need to examine your choices. If your decision making is selfish, inconsiderate, and poor, maybe you found your answer. Why? Because your decision making is selfish. Then it says, and upon thy seed. Why is it going to be upon the seed? Because we teach our seeds. Our children are going to do what we are going to do. So if you are stubborn and you're rebellious, guess what's going to happen? Your children are going to see that. And they're going to be stubborn and they're going to be rebellious against who? The one that you are. Even though they don't know him, that's the Most High. They're going to rebel against the Most High. And then the Most High is going to judge them. So your best bet is to teach your children before they fall into the hands of the Lord, before they even get to know him. So many bad things happen to the youth to where they don't believe in God. They don't even want to hear nothing about no God. It'd be like if it was a God, why he killed my friend? Them and the friend were thieves. You didn't teach them about thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not covet. You didn't teach them about being patient and working. Even if it's the pennies that you got to save, sooner or later, the pennies are going to add up. You've been saving pennies, and the Lord see you faithful. Then He delivers something into your hand to where you can now start saving dollars. And the habit that you had developed with saving pennies, you turn it into dollars, and now you can do whatever it is you want to do. What didn't you do? You didn't take, you didn't steal. And you taught the children some valuable lessons. But if they go against, it's going to be upon them too. So, but all of these things are upon us and our children. Because our service not the Lord with joyfulness and gladness of heart for the abundance of everything. So this is the reason why we came. Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies. So when we served our enemies, which we do now, but when this really began to come to pass over here in the shores of South Central and North America, they didn't care nothing about no Sabbath day of rest. They had us working, and we were serving our enemies, which the Most High shall send against thee, in hunger and in thirst and in nakedness. Do you not know that we didn't care nothing about the Sabbath when we was in the land? Our foreparents didn't care nothing about the Sabbath when we were in the land, when you read the scriptures. So the land spewed us out. Yeah. I believe that there are a lot that's going on now that's better than a lot of the ancient Israelites was doing. And some of you might not believe that because sometimes you undervalue yourself. You undervalue yourself and you underestimate yourself. You all have potential, unlimited potential. You have the Holy Spirit, the Comforter inside of you, the knowledge of the Most High and His Son, the Messiah. You got the teachings, you got the light, you got the gift, you got strength and power. You just got to increase your faith and your patience. And most importantly, the unity and the fellowship, because the fellowship will cleanse you. The fellowship will cleanse you. Fellowship will take you a long way. It's supposed to take away all of those things that the Most High doesn't like about you, because you're going to end up doing those things in front of Him, in front of your fellows, your sisters, and they're going to say something about it. And it's going to clean you up. So, seeing that we're going to serve this man, he says, in all things, remember, hunger for your food, thirst, and clothes, your nakedness. So he said, unreasonable times and hours and days. It's only the grace of the Most High that brothers and sisters have learned. And then through faith and help of the Lord, you go back to these people and you say, hey, this is what I require. You know, I need the Sabbath day to worship the Most High. He said, yeah or no. If you found favor, they're going to say yeah. If you didn't find favor, they're going to say no. And who is it that gives them the mindset? It's the Most High. Why? Go to Proverbs. And 1. Proverbs 21 and 1. Book of Proverbs, chapter 21 and verse 1. Read that.
This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 21 and verse 1. The king's heart is in the hand of the Lord.
Right, the king's heart. So if the king, that's the highest person. Another word for king today is president. The man's heart. So it's telling us about the king, because if the king's heart is in his hand, so are all the men that's under the king. In everybody's mind, the Most High has ability to do what? Go ahead.
As the rivers of water, he turneth it whithersoever he will.
Right, he turned it whithersoever he will. So your supervisors and managers at work, the Lord has the ability to turn their mind whichever way. You see, almost everybody in here was that, except only a few people, were able to keep tabernacles. Look at that. That's astonishing numbers. Exodus 5 and 1.
This is the book of Exodus, chapter 5 and verse 1. And afterward Moses and Aaron went in and told Pharaoh, Thus said the Lord God of Israel, Let my people go, that they may hold a feast unto me in the wilderness.
Right. You see what the Lord sent Moses in there to tell them? The Most High said, let my people go, that they may hold a feast unto me. That's the same thing that the Lord would tell people when they ask him for the days. These people, all of y'all ask for 7, 8 days from these jobs. We'll do it in reverse. How many didn't get to go? How many didn't get to go to keep the Passover tabernacles? 1. See? All the rest of you, who you think did that? This ain't a game, man. The Most High said, y'all go in there and tell them what you got to do. The Most High is in their mind. Let them go. They serving me. They coming to serve me. All of these people were out there in the wilderness, bro, keeping tabernacles for 7 days. Without any incident, those of you that was afraid, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get the days. Go in there and tell them, this is what you need to do. And before that, we went to Florida. They like, y'all crazy. The Most High had them give you time that they don't give nobody. How many in here didn't go to Florida 2 months before that? Didn't go? Okay. But the rest of everybody else in them down there went. How many vacations does the Lord God want you to have in 1 year? Hey, man, y'all gotta believe this. Yeah, you like, this is uncalled for, right? They don't do that, right? See, that's the Most High. He turned people's head wherever, how he wanted. All you gotta do is please him. You please him, you good. It's going to work. It's not me, it's not you, it's him. He gonna do that. All you gotta do is do what you're supposed to do. So let's get back to this captivity, having to work for this man for the one of all things. He offer you something on the Sabbath. He don't know nothing from nothing. He ain't even been. We be thinking that everybody they know that we the people of the Most High. A lot of these people don't know nothing. They know Israel. They know this. We give them too much credit. They ignorant to a lot of stuff. Once you get your foot in the door, the Most High gonna send you in there, and you gonna tell them, "This is the. I need to serve the Lord God. I'm a Hebrew." And of course, you might not say it like that, you know. But you gotta go in there, and you gotta be telling them about the Sabbath. You know, this is what I do. No, we did that. Ain't even. We ain't even dealing with pigs. Jewish. No, that's like a train track. No. So the scriptures say we're going to serve a man for the one of all things, and wanting to serve him for one of all things. If you find yourself like there was a sister, she had found herself with all these jobs, and nobody would, they would hire. She kept asking for the Sabbath, and then come to find out it was one that was kind of, iffy. And then they wanted her to take the shot. She said, "I'm not taking that." She couldn't get that. And then somebody popped up, $20 an hour. She said, "But I got to turn it down." Excuse me. Or I turned it down. I said, "Why?" She said, "They wanted me to work on the Sabbath." What would you do? That was the question I asked. So knowing that she's about to be out, maybe without a place to stay. She's got no finances coming in, no anything. I said, "You got to take the job." What's the difference between some of you that work and then something happens, you get the gravy train shift that you like, because somebody else is already working on site. But what happens when that person fall down and then the only person that they have to come through is you, and they put it on you and they tell you, you got to work Saturday from 2 to 10. What's the difference? You had to do it, or you don't keep your job, right? So it's the same thing. You're in a better situation than this person is because you got something stored up. This person is starting from zero. They're already in the negative. So they have no choice. The Lord already subjected us to hunger and to thirst and nakedness. So it's like that, or be even worse. So we all come out of situations looking for a better. And then there are those of us that, is there anybody that had to work Sabbath before and you took it to them and then they gave you the Sabbath off? 1, 2. Okay, so it's a bunch, right? That's the circumstance that I had to tell her. I said, "Well, listen, get in the door, and then first, ain't no loyalty to them. Start looking for another place that's gonna give you your. You're gonna work in the mornings, have your evenings and afternoons off, your afternoons and evenings off, and weekends off. But go ahead so you can accumulate something so you can provide for yourself. And then when you get in there, maybe they'll change their mind." She said, "Okay." She called the people back, and then the people said, "Well, we're trying to get you the Sunday." So that worked. That was like all praises. The Most High began to work already. So hoping that she get it, and then they give her the Sunday. They give her the Sunday schedule. I think that was pertaining to that. That might be it. Oh, yeah, I told this story before. I'll tell it again. I once, because I'm gonna forget, that's why. I once worked for a construction company, and the guy was like really, really tough. He was really, really hard. And just to be in his company, you had to be a banger. Straight up. He was like the Patriots or something. Hard to be. He was like, he had brute hard-nosed workers. I mean, they were about that. And he didn't taking off, you couldn't do that. But me being in the position that I'm in, being over the body, I went to this guy, so this might have been like in 2002. I went to this guy and to his office and asked him if he could step outside. You just imagine, just the owner of the company. Asked if he could step outside. He stepped outside, and I started talking to him, and I just felt deprived, like I couldn't do it, and my spirit was broken, and he can tell. And I kind of wept a little bit. He's like, "Well, I didn't know that it meant this much to you." And then the blue skies. It was in the afternoon. It was after work one day. It just started lightning and thundering right over it. Boom, 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 like the Lord was talking, like, I'm with you. I had no more problems at that company as an apprentice. That man gave me every high holy day that I wanted. The new moon every month. You'd have thought I was a foreman. That's how he treated me. When I went on other jobs, they had to move out of the way. Straight up. Everybody thought that I was what I wasn't. And Yashala know. So he witnessed to this. They didn't even mess with me. Everything I ever needed, I wanted. That man gave me every day. When I went to school, he said, you don't owe nobody no explanation or nothing. Just leave. Just go. When you don't have to come, just don't come. He told me that. And they will be there, whether if I left from high, dry, whatever. He knew if I didn't show up, I didn't show up. But when I did show up, I put in work. I was in tears. Through faith, the Most High will give you whatever you want. Believe and work for it. Work in Him. Work in Him for it. And it'll be done. He'll give you the relief that you need in these jobs from these people. You don't got to worry about them. You worry about Him. And don't be afraid to have the conversation. Now, they ain't going to give it to a complete stranger. What is your work? What type of person are you? Are you mannerable? Are you disrespectful? Do you hate hard work? If you be cutting up and clowning at work already, then you come and talking about off. They're going to permanently give you off. Yeah, okay, you can have off. Just don't come back. But if you a good, solid person, the Most High will attack them over you. Straight up, He will attack them over you. But you got to be the type of person that be willing to sacrifice. You can't be at work hating the job, showing up late on the phone, getting over, milking it. People notice that. Everybody think that nobody sees the stuff that you do. People see what you do, man. You gotta really, really be a good worker. Okay, you had some, bro?
Yeah, I was about that. What would you topic?
Yeah.
So I know a couple of people in education, and it's coming down to the point where the district is telling them October 15th get vaccinated or get another job. So what would you say in a situation like that? They're against vaccinations, but it's like 1 week vaccinated or lose your job. So what do you think about that?
Get another job. Yeah, don't let them put that in.
So why is elaborate?
Okay. Because it has attributes of Revelations chapter 13 and Revelations 14 as far as the mark of the beast where you can't buy and sell. That's first and foremost. When you do, which I mean, I'm not able to verbatim quote it because I didn't write down the notes, but I have done some of the studying, as far as the medicinal end of it. It's inconclusive, it's incomplete, and it's fabricated, man, made up. And I believe that there are reputable doctors that come out and support saying don't do it. They're not even doing it. Then on top of that, the United States Congress didn't even take it. I don't even think the president and the vice president, I don't even think that they took it. Nobody's taking, but they're pushing. And they're making believe that they're pushing. So in this movie that I was telling y'all to watch called Between, there's a part in there where they let the cat out the bag that is for population control. I don't want to spoil it because everybody is in here in stages watching it. But I've been said that I believe that it's for population control. If you take it, you still could get sick. So what's the purpose of taking something that you still gonna get sick behind it? It seemed like it make you even more vulnerable for it. And to be told, the Most High gives us an immune system to protect us. And then he himself protects us, our health. What the Lord has did already to protect people was most people have contracted COVID-19 already. And then their body fought it off. And once your body gets introduced to something, it knows how to deal with it, right? That's the same thing that they're doing, trying to introduce it to your body, but they got a spin to it too. They got something that's in there that's supposed to rearrange your DNA. And so it's just so many things pertaining to it to where we're not educated about it. It's brand new on the scene. And why be their guinea pigs? For money. So it would be best for us to, because think about this, like when you go into Revelations 13, and it's saying that no man is going to be able to buy or sell. And then now all of a sudden, so this was way before 1611, but this is a English and Greek translation that's translated from Hebrew in 1611. So let me do this here. 2020 minus 16. 2020 minus 16. In a rush. Minus 1611. Minus 1611 is 409 years. And the scriptures predate the translation of the 1611. So revelations that prophesy about not being able to buy or sell has been documented centuries ago. So just the time frame that we dealing with, men can't come up and say we're going to do something and then stay true to it 400 or 500 years later. it just appears to be impossible. It has to be something divine by it. So when we see this thing that's coming to pass, like personally, I've been looking out for this since the 90s. In the 90s, I was like the early 90s, when there wasn't a trace of it, period. I was paranoid about not being able to buy, not being able to sell, and things like that. So now that this is actually in the atmosphere and in everybody's house and in all these jobs, to where you can't buy or you can't sell except you have a certain something. I did a class about the mark of the beast, and through education and through uh, just facts, that it's a wide spectrum of many different parts. But there is an end game, there is an end piece. And this is not the end piece. There's something, but this goes right along with it, because once they can control you with this, you're going to take the next step. The next step, the RFID that actually brings the world digital, the chip that's on your debit card, to put it inside of you. When y'all see the movie, no, not that, the other one. What's the last one? The new one that we're watching. The games, where they're killing people in the games. Squid Games. They got the mark in the Squid Games. That's what they're scanning. Did you see that? Squid Games? You saw it? Remember that they're scanning their head. Without the helmet, they're scanning. The neck, that's the mark. They got it in you already. Okay? And it tells you who you are. So that's real. So what we've got to do is we've got to cut off. We got to let them know you can't control me like this, because you know what the Most High said? If you do take it, you're going to get the wrath of the Lord that's poured out without mixture. That means without mercy. You're going to totally get jacked up. You're going to be jacked up. So when they begin to threaten us with taking our jobs and this, that, and the third, you gotta let them take it, because they're not only gonna take their job, they're gonna take your house, they're gonna take your car, they're gonna take every and anything that they got control over. That's the reason why you got to get out in front of them by beginning to save, so that you can make moves to sustain yourself while you can't work, because they're gonna send you home and say, "Oh, you're gonna take it, you can't come." So now you're living in an environment to where now you're gonna have to fend for yourself out of pocket until it really clamp down. When they clamp down, like what happens if you can't renew the plates because of the more, then you can't drive it around, because if you get stopped and you don't have a pass, you understand? You don't have that. Now you get apprehended. You get incarcerated. It says it's called all free and bond. So, rich and poor to receive the mark. So now they're going to force it on you.
Yes.
So now you're going to go into a liquidation thing so that you can become self-sustainable. You played dominoes before?
Yes.
You know what it's like to get caught with the dominoes, right? You don't want to get caught with your dominoes. Now, the thing is who knows the day, nor the time, nor the hour when it all comes tumbling down, but we know it's coming, because look at how he's moving. He's putting so much pressure on you, but he's just saying, hey, if you don't get this, you can't go to work. So it's like knocking at the door. So the Most High is telling us, okay, these things are going to happen. Are y'all listening to them? You're going to have to start processing this. You got to sit down and create a plan on the future, on what's going to happen, because when it all comes loose and it happens, you can't be like, oh, okay, now let me sell my house, let me sell my car, let me sell my jewels, let me sell this, let me sell that, let me sell my lawnmower. Even the lawnmower is worth $25. You understand? Because you might not have no lawn to cut. So I know I'm going further and further into it, but that's how we have to think and not allow them to dominate us to the point to where they're going to just control our bodies and put anything in it. There are a lot of people that are fighting against that. They're not going for it. So don't you go for it. You know, if they're threatening you, just politely start looking for some place that's not going to allow you to do it. There are people, there are jobs, work at home jobs. Get the computer, get this and get that. At the same time, while saying, yo, this is getting serious. Because what happens when the work at home thing is straight up? Everybody that's working in these fields, I'm trying to tell y'all, I need to start, trying to soak up those work at home jobs because they're going to be gone. And once the work at home jobs are gone, the work in the field, the only field is going to be is save he that has the mark. That's the only ones that's going to be out there. You're going to have to be vaccinated to work. You're going to have to vaccinate to drive the trucks because the people are going to be like, yo, my workers are vaccinated. They're not delivering you contaminated thing. Remember how COVID, when it first hit, it had us so freaked out that they was quarantining the whole house. It was people with COVID on the streets and we didn't even want to walk in front of the house. Like, whoa, it's COVID getting there. So they freaked out like that. They got you under the impression that, if you have it, you can contaminate the whole, the whole stockpile of stuff that you have, and you actually can. Somebody with COVID, like a bunny, you know, man. What was you working at? FedExpress or FedEx? FedEx. And the drivers kept getting sick because the contamination was in where?
On the van line.
It was on the line. It was on the line. Packages. So the packages going out. I'm sure they sent COVID all the way around the world. He quit or got fired. He said, "Yo, this is getting sick. People getting sick." They terminated him to avoid him being taking that story and infecting the minds of other people that people are actually getting sick on the line. The line is coming from somebody here that's contaminating the packages. One thing that we all do is eat, snack, and drink, and put our hands in our mouth, and dig in our nose, whatever, or in our ears, or rub our eyes. Stuff, you know what I'm saying? It's contaminated. It's high contaminated. It's there. So I was saying that to say is they're gonna shut the trucking down too. That game is gonna be at a stall because they're gonna be like, yo, we don't want. Everybody's gonna be affected. They're gonna find an excuse to shut everything and everybody down. So instead of complying to them because it might affect you differently, people. People's tongues swell up so big it looked like your hand without your fingers. Their legs swell up. I run into somebody and I ask them, I say, well, how's your mom doing? I know that they was in the medical field and said, oh, did you take the shot? Did she take the shot? I said, yeah, she called shingles afterward and was sick. So people are getting jacked up for taking it. You don't know what it'll do with you, bro. So don't take it. It was a couple people. Somebody had something.
Yeah. And in regard to like what you explained about the difference, I want to get a precept in the second answer to just go over.
Well, just quote it because I want to get back on course. I'm sorry, I don't mean to turn the precept down, but just say what you're trying to say pertaining to elaboration on the COVID shot or whatever.
Well, I just read it. I got it in front of me because it really wasn't too much else to say. I was just sure.
Okay.
So this is 2nd Ezra chapter 8 and verse 27. It says, regard not the wicked inventions of the heathen, but the desire of those that keep my testimonies in affliction. So the Most High, like, is speaking through Ezra and saying, don't regard those wicked intentions, because when you think about it, our forefathers, they always got the medicine out of the earth. We didn't start dealing with the sandy pills, or the shots and the vaccinations, and all those things came in when we came into captivity.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Esau started experimenting with us, experimenting with animals, making up drugs, don't really test them to see how they affect people, and that's what they're doing with the vaccination. It normally take them a year or a lot of time to prove that it ain't gonna kill. You know what I'm saying? They forced this thing within a matter of months, and now they're trying to make people take it. And even like in my old job, they was doing it at Amazon. They had people after they took the vaccination, they will make you sit for like 20 minutes. You know why? Because they want to see within that 20 minutes, what is your body gonna do? Are you gonna start having seizures? Or you gonna just lump up, swell up? They trying to see if it's going to this particular person, is it going to affect them negatively before they let it go? And people get home and they getting sick or they even die. So the Most High say don't regard those things because they are inventions, they wicked inventions. And Esau trying to control the masses with it. And one of them is this.
Thanks.
All right, so, Matthew 12.
I did want to add to that.
Uh-huh.
And Revelation 13:7 says, and it was given unto him to make war with the saints and to overcome them. And power was given him over all kindreds and tongues and nations. And all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him, whose names are not written in the book of the life of the Lamb slain from the foundation of the world. If any man have an ear, let him hear. So, just like what he brought up and said in Ezra's, the thing about it is that the people that's taking this shot with the traits of it being that you ain't gonna be able to buy or sell, it's so close to what they call the verification, which is the RFID chip. That is the chip that's going to verify that you've been vaccinated. So the people that's taking the vaccination because they're afraid of not being able to buy or sell, go into grocery stores, their regular routine, those are the same people that's names not written in the book of life. Those are the people that the Most High is talking about, because once they get vaccinated, they're getting vaccinated to be able to buy or sell. So when the chip come out, they're gonna be the first ones in line because they already got the jab. So they ain't gonna stop at the vaccination of, oh, I can't buy or sell. I'm not gonna stop here. They're not gonna stop when the chip rolls out. They're not gonna stop there. So the ones that's getting vaccinated, we already see that they're not in the book of life. So I just want to
I sell war work.
yeah.
Chip is a controlling device anyway. They was doing research on it like 3-4 years ago. They was actually putting chips in rats, and like they had remotes, and they wanted the rat to turn right, the rat to turn right, like a game, like a straight video game. So the chip is a controlling device. Like we take that.
There are so many people that are so greedy for money that they're gonna take it regardless, not understanding that there are so many examples of cruelty and abuse from this nation of people that's oppressing us. So let me read something. I'm looking up the Tuskegee syphilis, that experiment. So listen, it says the Tuskegee study of untreated syphilis. So when you get the vaccine, they're actually giving you COVID. That's what they're doing. All right. That's why people be sick. Now, it says in the Negro male, was an ethically abusive study conducted between 1932 and 1972 by the United States Public Health Service and the Centers for Disease Control. That's the CDC and prevention. So the question is, how long did that take place? 40 years. How long has COVID been in effect? It just came out in 20. It's been before we believe, but the spread for the pandemic happened in 2020, right? So 20, and this is 21. This thing is yet to be over. We just deal with, they have experience in being demons, abusive, abusing us, experience in doing so. And what could we do? We have no defense system. You know, they got us where it hurts the most in your belly, your housing, your family, your children, your livelihood. So they're like, yo, take away the livelihood, they're gonna come in. It's far from over. Listen to this, purpose. So I'm reading the Tuskegee syphilis study. Now, this is the purpose. The purpose of the study was to observe the effects of the disease while untreated. So they actually injecting people and seeing how you respond. And they mad at the other ones that's not doing it because they want a mass type of thing. Only the feeble-minded is going to get injected. The strong ones are not going to do it. You know, and in this movie that I was telling y'all to watch, let me see, what is the date on the movie?
2015.
2015, 16. So 2015, yeah, April 21st, 2015. It's got 12 episodes. So that's 6 years ago. In the movie itself, it talks about that they did it for population control. And that it was never meant, because they created a virus. In the movie, they created a virus, and then they walled off with an electrical fence a town. And everybody in the town was infected. And then they sent in some people with a so-called vaccine. The vaccine, is not a cure. It was only put in there to kill them after they got certain data on how people respond to a weapon that they was creating, so that they can create a vaccine for it so that they could get rich. Wow. That's in 2015. It's identical to the world that you're living in, identical to what's happening. It's like they have planned this thing that's going on. Do not take that poison. They are trying to use you as a guinea pig to destroy you. Do not be afraid of them. That's one reason why the Most High told us to come together in Zephaniah, O nation undesired. There are strength in numbers. Together, we can put our resources together and we can survive. The thing that you cannot do is that you cannot eat all the food, you cannot drink all the drink. You have to be able to have a reserve and preserve it. By yourself, you're going to suffer. It is going to get worse. It's going to get bad. That's why I kept telling you, stop running around wastefully spoiling your goods. Stop it. You're going to need something. You should be able to, every functioning being should be able to bring something to the table and say, hey, this is a portion, this is what I got. This is what we're gonna do. Because what's gonna happen when it all shut down and can't none of us work? If we all eat all our stuff, everybody ain't gonna have the same amount of stuff. But together, we could survive. Another thing that's gonna happen that, yes, it's on Netflix, it's called Between. The eating of this meat every day is gonna soon come to an end. Yeah. I ain't saying it's unlawful. I'm saying how you gonna have it? Where you get it from? Your diet gonna change. Where you gonna get it from? Hey, listen. Do y'all not know? In 2020, you consume a goat and a lamb for Passover. In 2021, I bought 2 lambs and held back the chops. So those were the chops and some of the goat. So I guess I bought a goat and a lamb. Did anybody taste the goat? No, I'm saying this was just recently. It was smoking, yes. But it was smoking. It was the best. It was like the rib part of it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And it was murdered too, wasn't it?
Nah, you didn't get it. Yeah, what did somebody say? Somebody say he had some chicken. So you had some chicken.
It was tender as a right?
So but listen though. We chuckling, we laughing. But what I'm doing is showing you the need. That was one day. A goat and a lamb, everybody happy. That's one day. So how we will really need to consume, we really need an abundance to constantly keep up and be happy where you cannot go to the store. So now do you see why I'm saying you got to save? Because when you can't go to the store and get it, I say things you say, oh, I'm selfish. How long is your food gonna last? You and your family, you and your house. It's only gonna last you until y'all eat it all up. Then you're gonna be looking for some help. It's strength in numbers. The Most High put us together to work together. So we have to start thinking about that. We cannot wait until the last moment to say, oh, let's blah, 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 blah. And then I don't want to be, don't want to get them playing out on TV. So we're behind. We're behind. But that's okay. Even though I worry, I stand corrected. So I say, I got this. I always have, always will. I'm like, okay. So then I'll keep coming to everybody and say, hey, this is what we need to do. And then in his time, our lights and bells will start going off. And then Most High began to just show us, this is what I need y'all to do. This is how I need y'all to be. You can't raise those type of animals right here. You need to be in a situation where you can have those type of animals. Then treat them like Jacob treated them. Remember how Jacob was very smart, and he knew how to make them fertile to where they will bring forth. And that's the same mindset that we gotta have. In order to do that, though, what do we have to do, James?
I heard you talking about. I was listening.
Sequoias,
Work together.
work together.
Talking himself.
We gotta stop wasting our money. We gotta stop. Let me tell you something. Who was standing right there next? Oh, Rocky was. I was talking to the guy about the Angus bull, right? Remember when you standing right there?
Yeah.
He said, call him when you're ready. How much did he say a bull cost? It was about 3,500. Yeah. Or 3,500 for an Angus bull. He said, that's the one you want. That, and get you a stall full of heifers. He gonna knock them all up. Look at the guys. Yeah, baby. I might can't do it, but that's my boy. That's my boy. I might can't, but proud of that bull. Where you going, baby? I'm going to feed the bull. You like that old funky old bull. You be ready to shoot him or something, kick him or something. Y'all throwing all the heels with all the women. But we're gonna be hungry. We gotta think ahead. Right? So Matthew 12. No, you don't. That's somebody that just decided to blow about $10, $15 a box or half a box. This is ignorance, my man, a couple doors down who always blaming it on somebody else.
Always.
Or we blame it on somebody else. And you know, so Matthew chapter 12. And start at verse 1.
This is Matthew chapter 12 and verse 1. At that time, Yahushua went on the Sabbath day through the corn, and his disciples were an hungry, and began to pluck the ears of corn and to eat. But when the Pharisees saw it, they said unto him, Behold, thy disciples do that which is not lawful to do upon the Sabbath day. But he said unto them, Have ye not read what David did when he was in hunger, and they that were with him, how he entered into the house of God and did eat the shewbread, which was not lawful for him to eat, neither for them which were with him but only for the priests? Or have you not read in the law how that on the Sabbath days the priests in the temple profane the Sabbath and are blameless? But I say unto you that in this place is one greater than the temple. But if ye had known what this meaneth, I will have mercy and not sacrifice, ye would not have condemned the guiltless. For the Son of Man is Lord even of the Sabbath day.
So what's the difference between what the the disciples was doing in the first verse than what the law states, which we went out when we went over in Exodus 16? You don't have to go there, but Exodus 16 and 29, where it says, "Abide ye every man in his place, and go not out of his place on the seventh day." Because, in other words, they would remember they had went out to gather to get the bread because they didn't prepare. So, what is the difference between what they did and then they got corrected and what the disciples did, and Christ justified them? Yeah, anybody? What's it?
They went out gathering, teaching and gathering the flock of the Most High, and not so much as far as gathering food for their bellies and things of that nature.
Okay, not totally what we're looking for. What's the difference?
They was getting food to eat for themselves and their sons.
Right. So they did it. They were out and they were hungry, opposed to going out to gather. Well, I guess one would say in Exodus 16, the people are hungry, so they went out to get it.
But it came out before.
No, so the Pharisees have a legitimate right.
They was in Christ,
And then our forefathers, they went out to gather to cook. That was another attitude that came out, that they was, intended to go beyond their means.
No, not the bread. Nope. You can't mix that. The guy gathered sticks, two different situations.
so they were violating the Sabbath.
Basically, they were. Yes, they were. The thing is Christ is justifying them. So we have to find why would he justify it?
I thought their intent was not to do it. Their intent was to go out and teach, but it was food there for them to grab.
Okay, say it again now.
Their intent wasn't to go out and gather the corn, but the corn was there, hanging there for them to get. That's just like if we walk and there's an apple on a tree, we're hungry, we'll grab it, but that's not our intent. We're on our way somewhere else to teach. That's what I looked at.
Okay, so you can say we're gonna stop at him. Go ahead.
Well, so I have a question. So like you said, the Pharisees had a legitimate complaint. So could it be that since the Pharisees were right that they weren't supposed to do it there, could it possibly be right that that he wasn't supposed to justify them by collecting the bricks?
No, not that. Justifying them, this is why he did. So go to St. John. St. John chapter 1 and verse 17. And give him time and read the pages.
This is St. John chapter 1 and verse 17. For the law was given by Moses.
Right, and that's what we was reading the law in Exodus, I think 16:29 that I quoted. where the Most High had told them let none of them go out of their place. And the reason why he had specifically said that in Exodus, the 3rd chapter, was because they had failed to prepare and they intentionally went out. So somebody here said, well, they were out doing the work of the Most High, this blah, blah, blah. So instead of giving them that type of excuse, going out is going out, picking it is picking it. So am I finna say Christ is wrong? That's not what I'm about to say. He's right. First, he was right too. Because they caught it and said, yo, they doing something in the law is unlawful. But what did Christ try to teach them pertaining to life and living? Read the next part.
But grace.
But grace. See, so Christ was teaching them about being graceful to who? To their brothers, instead of having a murderous, hateful spirit. Like which one are you? If you hungry, I mean, you ever been out? Have you ever been out teaching in the camp, teaching in the streets?
Well, not, I mean, different types of teaching. Not like I'm talking, yes, I teach.
Well, from experience, it's times to where we will be standing in the streets from 10 o'clock. We be teaching all day, stand in the streets. Me and these guys here, we stand in the streets from 10 o'clock in the morning, come back here, sit through this, and go right back out till 4 in the morning. 4 a.m. When the city is shut down and the Del Mar Loop, I got video to show it. When they go, look us up on YouTube. Put in my name. You go to or put in the whatever the website name is, and then put in Camp After Dark. And you'll see. They'll be out there to 3 o'clock in the morning. We'll get home at 4 in the morning. Afterwards, walk down the street and get some warm cookies. When you outside that long, you be like starving. They don't even go home to eat dinner. Sometimes our wives would sometimes they would bring, here's your dinner, serve your dinner out there. But you get extremely hungry when you out. We don't take no coolers with us and all that. We used to be out there speaking the whole time. That's why the Christ said, a laborer's word is high. If somebody give you something, go ahead and take it. It's pertaining to that. So when those guys were out there and the work that they was doing, they got hungry, you're gonna condemn them, you want to stone them, and they doing the work. So you cannot muzzle the ox that threaded the corn, brother. So he's teaching them to be merciful, opposed to wanting to condemn them because somebody while walking pulled an ear of corn. But if he didn't have breakfast, they didn't wait till they got up at first light. You know, the first hour might be 5, 6 o'clock. And then within hours, the whole marketplace, the highways and the byways will be full of people. And then there it starts. And they'll be out there from that time forward. So when it happened to, and then you got to think about who they talking to. They don't understand who they talking to. They didn't believe that. This was the man himself manifested in the flesh. Go back to Genesis. Genesis 1. Genesis 1:26, read that.
This is Genesis chapter 1 and verse 26. And God said, let us make man in our image.
Stop. Listen to it like this. And we said, let us make man in our image. This is more than one person that was there. So now go to Genesis 2. And verse 2.
Genesis 2:2. And on the seventh day, God ended his work which he had made.
So stop. And on the seventh day, we ended all our work which we made. Now go to Colossians 1. Colossians 1 and verse 12.
Colossians chapter 1 and 12. Giving thanks unto the Father, which had made us meet to be partakers of the inheritance of the saints in light.
So giving thanks unto the Father. The us is those that are in this earth. Verse 13.
Who had delivered us
Those that are in this earth, go ahead.
from the power of darkness,
Sin, go ahead.
and had translated us into the kingdom of his dear Son,
Talking about the Messiah, go ahead.
in whom we have redemption through his blood.
Right, the Messiah through his example. That's why a powerful thing is an example. Go ahead.
Even the forgiveness of sins.
Forgiveness of sins because we're going to change. Go ahead.
Who is the image of the invisible God.
Talking about the Messiah. He's the image of the invisible God by his actions. So when he's spoken to the Pharisees, justifying the disciples was the will of the Most High. It was manifested through Christ. Go ahead.
The firstborn of every
The
creature.
protocol and prototype of how each and every last creature that obeys the commandments of the Most High is supposed to turn out. Go ahead.
For by him,
For by Christ, remember, we just went through Genesis 1, Genesis 2, and how it talks about them. So even if you wanted to say the Most High and the Messiah, Christ, go ahead.
for by him were all things created.
Right. So even the Sabbath day was created. So he's not going to charge the disciples on the Sabbath day, but give them grace. He's trying to teach the Pharisees, neither should you charge them. Okay, go ahead.
That are in heaven and that are in the earth,
Right, things that are created in heaven and in the earth. Go ahead.
visible and invisible, whether they be thrones or dominions or principalities or powers. All things were created by him and for him.
All things were created by him and for him. Go ahead.
And he is before all things, and by him all things consist.
He was created before the Sabbath day. That's why when we get back, it's going to tell you that he's the Lord of the Sabbath day. It told you that. And he created the Sabbath day. The Most High told him, this is what I want done. Him and the rest of it. You got to remember the government of the Most High. The Most High sits on the throne. And you don't have to, like, say, for instance, us, be a working foreman, a working boss, a working, owner, CEO, getting dirt. So all that stuff was done by the Christ and those that assisted him. And all things, by him, things consist. Go ahead.
And he is the head of the body.
And he is the head of the body. And that he is talking about the Messiah. Go ahead.
The church.
The church, the congregation. Go ahead.
Who is the beginning, the firstborn from the dead.
Right. Who is the beginning? The church is the beginning. So we can see the beginning of things formulating. And we are the first ones that come from this dead state back into live living. Go ahead.
that in all things he might have the preeminence.
Go ahead.
For it pleased the Father
That's the Most High. So the Most High was pleased with his work and everything that he did. Go ahead.
that in him
In Christ, go ahead.
should all fullness dwell.
Right, that everything that the will of the Most High wanted should dwell inside of him. So the Most High wasn't jealous. People be thinking that, oh, the Most High, he taking something, the glory away from the Most. You can't take nothing away from the Most High. What are you talking about? The work that he did was to bring the glory of the Most High so people could love, respect, and fear the Most High, obey, worship, and serve the Most High, honor the Most High, and know the Most High. Go ahead.
And having made peace through the blood of his cross.
Right, because his life, the cross represents what he died, how he died living. He made peace with Israel and the Most High because he set enough examples that would domino effect and ripple through life and through existence. Look at us, thousands of years later, sacrificing, getting it right. So this works. Go ahead.
By him to reconcile all things unto himself. By him, I say, whether they be things in earth or things in heaven. And you that were sometimes alienated and enemies in your mind by wicked works, yet now hath he reconciled.
Okay, so enough with that. Now, so let's go back to St. John 1:17.
St. John chapter 1 and 17.
Mhm.
For the law was given by Moses, but grace and truth came by Christ.
All right, so Christ, he brought in grace. So now don't kill them for that token there. All right. What is it up?
Hey, because I don't know what scripture it is, but Yahushua was talking to the Pharisees and he told them, which one of you wouldn't go back on the Sabbath day to get a lamb?
Right. So we'll deal with that. Yeah, we just kind of jumping ahead. Go ahead. Oh, okay. So let's go back to Matthew chapter 12. So Matthew chapter 12 and 6. Read that.
Matthew chapter 12 and 6. But I say unto you, that in this place is one greater than the temple.
Right. And what does that mean? He's greater than the temple. He's greater than that building that they're trying to service out of and hold holy, because he himself is the creator of the things that they're trying to hold fast of. And he's trying to tell you that was for, I hate to say a time then present, but that they should be bringing in grace and mercy, and that there are weightier matters other than wanting to condemn or stone somebody for picking a piece of fruit or picking an ear of corn. All right, go ahead.
But if ye had known what this meaneth, I would have mercy.
I would not have mercy. I'll let you live. Go ahead.
And not sacrifice.
And not sacrifice, because it's he. Do we not understand that Christ is the judge? That the Most High have put the judgment, put him on the judgment seat, or put him on the throne, and Israel is going to pass before him. And a lot of people don't understand that. Okay. Now, Romans 14 and 10. Romans 14 and 9 and 10.
This is the book of Romans, chapter 14, and verse 9. For to this end Christ both died and rose and revived, that he might be the Lord both of the dead and the living. But why dost thou judge thy brother? Or why dost thou set at naught thy brother? For we shall all stand before the judgment seat of Christ.
So we're going to stand before the judgment seat of Christ. Go ahead. According to scripture. Go ahead.
For it is written, as I live, said the Lord, every knee shall bow to me, and every tongue shall confess to God. So then every one of us shall give account of himself to God.
Listen, have you ever seen these gangster movies to where the big boss would be standing there and somebody that works for him will slay the person in transgression? The big boss will just be standing there, and his second in command will just come right up heartless and take them down. That's the Most High in Christ. So the Most High is not getting anything taken from him. The Most High has a government, and we got to understand that. So he then turns and say that every tongue shall confess to who? The Most High. Even though he's doing the judging, but you get a fair chance to make it. What do you have to do? Apply the scriptures. Because he's going to open up the books. He's going to judge you out of the books. The very same thing, everything that you're being given grace and mercy for. See, he said, hey, he was eating, did this on the Sabbath. He said, all right, don't kill him. Now, teach him. Why did he do it? He was hungry. Now, you don't take that for granted and be like, oh, I'm finna make void the law through faith, and now I'm doing this on the Sabbath. Oh, I don't believe on the Sabbath. Something's not good. It ain't gonna turn out how you want to, because you still gotta get judged by the law. So even though he bring in grace for you, that's not, shall we continue in sin that grace may abound? The Most High says no. We're supposed to continue in sin and try to lean on grace. Grace was an opportunity that spared you. So then every one of us shall give an account of himself to the Most High. You're going to give that account. All right. So back to Matthew 12. So I will have mercy and not sacrifice. Because that sacrifice, things are cleansed through blood. Excuse me. And without blood, there is no remission of sin. The latter part of 7, ye would not have condemned the guiltless. In other words, there's nothing else that they're doing wrong. There's nothing else that they're doing wrong, but you want to condemn them to death. For the Son of Man is Lord even of the Sabbath. But they didn't understand it. Had they understood that, they wouldn't have killed him. And this is the only brother that we know as for forgiveness, even for them that was killing them. There ain't a brother I know alive who will be getting murdered and be asking the Lord, Lord, forgive him. We'll be going down, you wicked demon. Oh, you killing me. You wrong for that. You going to hell, man. You wrong for that. You going to burn. We'll be doing all different type of curses and threats, man. Not this one here. It's the only one. Ask the Most High to forgive them. They don't, because they didn't know what they were doing. So do you think that they knew that he was instrumental before all things in the creation? They didn't know none of that. Sin will block your mind, your spirituality, your spirit from understanding. Sin will. Any willful sin that you're doing, there's a deduction. Your download rate is slower than you think it would. You think it's faster, it's just gonna speed up. Well, you give me wisdom, give me understanding, give me knowledge, give me this. You don't even understand what that means. To ask for wisdom, knowledge, and this, that, and the other is be asking to go through something. The wisdom of the Christ, you wouldn't want to live in that. It's hard. It's too hard. To be in all points tempted, that's extremely tough. You don't have a normal life. You have a life that's always full of what? Temptation. Satan riding you, never leaving. Your life is not like other men. So I don't know what you think wisdom and knowledge is and understanding is. But according to scriptures, it's hell that bring forth the righteous fruit, a peaceable fruit unto them that's righteous. If you ain't willing to go through that, you're just trying to parrot the Bible. You're just trying to quote it, man. Remember what he said and then agree. This walk is a lot deeper than that. This walk will kill you and then revive you and have you live to tell the story. Verse 9.
And when he was departed thence, he went into their synagogue, and behold, there was a man which had his hand withered. And they asked him, saying, Is it lawful to heal on the Sabbath days? That they might accuse him.
All right, so the same ones, now they want to make bait, make an argument, fight. They wanted to accuse him. So they're not really trying to learn. You're going to deal with stuff like that. Not saying anyone here is like that, but that's what he dealt with. Asking them questions, wanting to accuse him, see what he knows, see what he's saying. You can spot that out. Go, you should be able, we're learning to spot that. Go ahead.
And he said unto them, What man shall there be among you that shall have one sheep, and if it fall into a pit on the Sabbath day, will he not lay hold on it and lift it out? How much then is a man better than a sheep?
Right, because he comparing what they have to something that he got. That man is his, a sheep of his, a believer of his. And he's like, yo, I'm helping this guy here. If you got something that will fall down and can't get out, you just, because it's the Sabbath, you're going to just let him stay there and probably get strangle himself trying to get out. These will injure themselves, break a leg, or have an anxiety attack trying to get out instead of waiting. Which one of you, he's asking them, that come with this trickery. So this is something that can help us in today's time, okay? And I'll tell you right after this commercial.
Yeah.
No. I read that part several times as well, and I just had a question. So the right answer actually is that he said, which one of y'all want to jump in and help a sheep that fall in the wheel?
Right.
Well, doesn't the scripture say, like, the right answer is no one should, because if he works on the Sabbath, it was supposed to die in the Old Testament, right? Like, aren't the Pharisees telling the truth?
No, they tempting him.
But it's still the truth, right?
The Pharisees are blind and hypocrites and don't know anything. So when you in the midst of sin, brother, Your understanding way off. You got say spirits on you. So the law is the truth, and he's the person that implemented the law. This the person that met Moses in the mount. They talking to the man himself. That's why so many people be trying to call who they call Jesus. They be trying to call the Messiah God. The Messiah is not God. The Messiah is the messenger of the Most High, whom the Most High himself sent unto us. So the whole time that Moses is dealing, he's getting these laws from this man here. So now this man is coming and saying, I am implementing a truce between God and his children. And so things that you want to account them for death, don't give them death. Give them mercy. Thumbs up instead of thumbs down. Remember what rule they under? They under the Roman rule, so they used to murder. They used to hypocrisy. So they don't like this guy on the scene because this guy is he's famed, he's being famed even though he don't want to be famed. He just wants an equality, and he wants people to genuinely overcome and come from sin. So when people overcome from sin, then they stop being a servant of sin, and then they stop serving men, man pleasing, and following them. And when they lose control of the people, then the Romans are like, yo, you ain't got your people in control. So no, they wasn't right. They was right in that other point, but in this point, they're not right because they tempted him again, and he's trying to tell them there's a situation to where there are circumstances that's logic to where you need to be lenient. If your own animal is hurt, there's nothing wrong with picking your animal up from a situation so the beast don't die. Go to the book of Proverbs. Yes, sir.
And he also asked that question to them because he also knew that this is something that they do. Like, it's just in front of men, they try to be a certain way, but he know everything. He know their thoughts, what they thinking, and everything. And so the Pharisees was so much right when the lady Mary Magdalene, when they took her to him, they would have stoned him because they had all grounds to stone him. But he said, which one of you haven't sinned? And nobody threw a stone.
Right.
So the Pharisees was nothing but hypocrites.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. That's not a hypocrite, right? That they was full of stone.
So
No.
listen. You can't use the law. That's how Satan used the law.
Mm-hmm.
Can't use the law to tempt somebody in that fashion to get somebody that they're trying to trick him into an answer. So they're using the law unlawfully. That's not how you're supposed to use the law. The law was never meant to be used like that.
Right.
So
That's
So-
not the scripture that says.
Proverbs 12. Proverbs 12 and 10.
This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 12 and verse 10. A righteous man regarded the life of his beast.
Right. So if you a righteous brother, you care about your beast. That's why it was like, which one of you you gonna see the animal stuck and you're not gonna help the animal? You've been raising this animal and caring for him. A righteous man, he regarded the life of his beast. Go ahead.
But the tender mercies of the wicked are cruel.
You know what that means? In order to get cruel people don't have tender mercies. They don't have tender mercies. They'll sit there and just let the thing suffocate, or let the thing have an anxiety attack, or let the thing be strangled to death. They don't care. You got people that are cruel, the cruelty to animals, but the tender mercies of the wicked are cruel. They don't have tender mercy, brother. They cruel. All right. So it'd be cruel to sit there and let somebody suffer when you can help them. Talking about, oh, it's the Sabbath. then that means that your woman can't give you a Tylenol on the Sabbath. You got a headache. It's the Sabbath. She's gonna heal your headache. Oh, I got a deep cramp in the stomach. Well, I won't go into food because we can eat. But a pain, it will be cruel. You will be telling her, you crazy woman. Why is the Tylenol stop playing? Would you put it? I saw it on the baby, it's the Sabbath. I cannot tell you where it is. It's the Sabbath. You'll be like, baby, you cruel. You got no mercy. You laying down, bro. You ever been sick on the Sabbath? And she come to your aid. You know, you don't want her to be cruel. You want her to help you. And what the sheep meaning to them Pharisees is what the people meant to Christ. So he's trying to tell them, bro, you know, I'm gonna do this. There's nothing wrong with this. All right, we got to keep going. So go back to Matthew 12. And 12, how much then is a man better than a sheep? None to them. Because like the brother was saying that, yeah, they probably was doing their own stuff, but they wouldn't even want to help their brother. Wherefore, it is lawful to do well on the Sabbath days. Now, so then he said unto the man, stretch forth thy hand, and he stretched it forth, and it was restored whole, like as the other. So, how could we relate this unto today? I've been in this situation before, because we need to bring this down to hell where we at. It's on the Sabbath day. We know where they at, but where we at? With them, it's a sheep. With Christ, it's a man. But what about us? What would it be for us? It might be a car, a house that you gotta pull out of the rut. You're driving down the street, and the car stopped in the middle of the road, and it's the Sabbath. What do? Get out and walk away and let somebody run into it? What do you do? Right, you need help getting it out. So, brother in the truth drive past and see you pushing your car on the Sabbath. They might initially start thinking evil of you and be wrong. What are you doing out here? He's going somewhere. He got judged. Maybe you was going somewhere. Maybe you was coming to the school. Didn't purchase gas, so you was low on fuel. So you just tried to chance it, but it caught up with you and ran out. Now, don't go to the filling station because that's not what's going to next come out of these lips. I just said push it out the street so it don't get rammed, right? Or side swipe. Then you have to leave it after the Shabbat. You got it out of harm's way. So now you don't want to add, one thing on top of another. So you get it out of the street, but the person driving by, they might in their mind think, oh, what is this, brother? The Fanai is going out, man. It's on the Shabbat, man. Brother, man, he's gonna go to the store. Brother, he's gonna do this and keep doing that. He out of gas. He gonna get that gas. That will be evil thinking. Especially if you fear the Most High, you know exactly what to do. You took a chance. That doesn't mean that the Most High wants you to go get gas because you ran out. The Most High wants you to now be a better planner. Because now you don't want to be stuck. So now after the Sabbath, now you're gonna have to get some help. That's a very small thing. Yo, brother, bring a gas can. Or who got a gas can? find a gas can, run to the thing, this, that, and the third. It might be slightly embarrassing, but it's a noble, honorable example because the person that's helping you to do it see that you didn't give in and buy on the Sabbath because you felt like, oh, I needed some gas and I wanted to get my car back home and this, that, and the third. No, you didn't do that. They said, oh, bro, you didn't buy it. No, I didn't buy it. It ran out and couldn't get it all the way out the street. So let me get it out the street. He got out the street and left it there. Came back well after the Sabbath. Y'all picked it up and took it home. And now you know. So that will be the last time that happened. When it's starting to get dark, first thing you're going to be doing is running to that gas station, putting that gas in there. This ain't happening to me. House situation. I want the one where they didn't stop themselves up. First Maccabees 2. First Maccabees chapter 2. Let's see. And start at 27.
First Maccabees chapter 2 and 27. And Mattathias cried throughout the city with a loud voice, saying, whosoever is zealous of the law and maintaineth the covenant, let him follow me. So he and his sons fled into the mountains and left all that ever they had in the city.
Stop. So Mattathias is who? Lim?
Mattathias is son of Mattathias is the high priest and father of Judah back to you.
Right. He's the father of Judas. Now, let's rewind a little bit. What did he say he did? Read that part again. Verse 28.
Verse 28. And he and his sons fled into the mountains.
So they left. Go ahead.
And left all that ever they had in the city.
They left everything. So sometimes I say certain things to y'all and y'all think that, is he crazy? I tell y'all, you might have to liquidate this. Yeah. Why did he have to leave everything that he had? Because he jumped off without announcement. He jumped off without announcement. Without announcement. Yeah. So he had to leave everything. I'm sitting here telling us in advance, it's not going to go well. You might want to start preparing. It might want to go well. There are people out here that I commend. They have done things very fast and very sufficiently, very quickly. And there are others with not so much as faith have to see it. Once you see it, and if you decide, okay, let me try and do something different, I guarantee you, you're going to have to leave everything that you got. And you ain't gonna benefit from none of it. Guaranteed. You're gonna kick yourself. You might be so shook by it to where you might not be persuaded to leave. Oh, but then there's things that's gonna happen too. You can't even reason with them. You're gonna get jacked up trying to stay back and hold on to this little stuff. Went through that before. Man. We go through everything so much. You can't even agree with them, man. Let me show you that part. It's in 2nd Ezra. Second Ezra, let's see, it might be 15, 16, bear with me. Second Ezra 16 and 69. Let's make sure that that's the exact one. Yep. Okay, read that.
This is 2nd Ezra chapter 16 and verse 69. And they that consent unto them.
So now, because you're going to stay back. You don't want to lose your stuff. So you're going to stay in consent. Go ahead.
Shall be had in derision.
You're going to be had in derision. Listen to the definition of derision. It says contemptuous ridicule or mockery. You're going to try and stay back and hold on to your stuff. They are going to make mockery out of you. You were a fool for doing that. You made the biggest mistake in your life. You're supposed to save yourself and deliver yourself. Like, oh, I can't lose my possession, my house, my bed, my pillow top, my comforter, my TV, my car, my garage door opening, going up and down. You know, I like my refrigerator. Shoot, I just brought this, baby. Didn't we just get this stuff? You trying to convince who? Boy, contempt is no respect. You're gonna be held in no respect. They're gonna come right in and take all of your stuff, your food, your medicines, your this and your that. They're gonna take all of your stuff, and you're gonna be made mockery of. Go ahead.
And in reproach.
Go ahead.
And trodden underfoot.
Then they turn around and kill you. Trying to hold on to that stuff. This is what's gonna happen. Let's go back. Even during the time of the Messiah, the Lord said, when you see these things happen, he said, don't be fooled by that stuff. Don't turn back and go down to get that stuff. Let's grab that.
go to Matthew 24.
Mm-hmm. Matthew 24, verse 16.
Matthew chapter 24 and 16. Then let them which be in Judea flee into the mountains.
So Christ told them, those that are in Judea, run, run, run. Go ahead.
Let him which is on the housetop not come down to take anything out of his house.
Right, because Israel, they had flat tops. So they would actually see the city under siege. And once you see the city under siege, it's like, wait a second, you need to go. So don't go down. Don't come down and to take anything out of your house. It's too late. This is the Messiah right here. All throughout time, you got a wonder. You have a wonder. What are you doing with your wonder? Instead of getting sucked in with all these little things, with this smoke pipe dream, the picket fence. No, you better wake up. You better wake up. You have to redeem the time. I'm telling you. Go ahead.
Neither let him which is in the field return back to take his clothes.
Don't even go back home to get your clothes. You're gonna leave these people right here. When you see this, in other words, don't go back to your house because you're gonna get caught. We did the history on this. It's on the board. When they caught our people in 70 AD, it was a slaughter. They killed innocent people for no apparent reason. You go back trying to, if they, the ones that went, and there were people that didn't listen, a lot of them got caught. And then they try to run. They got caught while in the run. And the Romans were so dirty, just like now. They so dirty. You see them out there, they so tactical. They got helmets on, shields, cover their face, bulletproof helmets, vests, tactical gear, riot gear, dogs, tanks, guns, spraying children with pepper spray and all that kind of stuff. Those are women and children and armless. I ain't say harmless because they shouldn't be out there. Armless men. They be out there beating them, spraying them, crushing them, destroying them. During this time, these people got killed, man. It was a great slaughter. They murdered our people, man. Let's go back to the Sabbath day, though. Finish that. So, First Maccabees 2. The only thing we can do, Israel, is take heed and get out in front of this. First Maccabees chapter 2 and 29.
First Maccabees 2 and 29. Then many that sought after justice and judgment went down into the wilderness to dwell there.
So some people during the time of Mattathias, they got away. And they went because they wanted to do right. Go ahead.
Both they and their children and their wives.
So them children, so men, women, and children. Go ahead.
And their cattle.
Right, and they had cattle too. So they bugged out. Go ahead.
Because afflictions increased so upon them.
The afflictions was in Jerusalem. So they were fleeing those afflictions that was come upon them from the Greeks. Go ahead.
Now, when it was told the king's servants and the host that was at Jerusalem, in the city of David.
Wait a second. The king, what was happening in Jerusalem during the city of David? Why? Because they were under persecution by the Greeks. Go ahead.
that certain men who had broken the king's commandment were going down into the secret
What do you
places.
think the king's commandment is? The king's commandment is to sacrifice and to follow his rule. So going against and not taking a jab, that's his commandment. The scriptures say he calls all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive it. He wants everybody to get it. Things are repeating itself. Go ahead.
Were going down into the secret places in the wilderness.
Like to go and hide where no one can find them. Go ahead.
They pursued after them.
So wait a second. The Greeks came after them. I know this. Go ahead.
A great number, and having overtaken them, they camped against them and made war against them on the Sabbath day. And they said unto them, let that which ye have done hereto suffice. Come forth and do according to the commandment of the king, and ye shall live. But they said, we will not come forth, neither will we do the king's commandment to profane the Sabbath day. So then they gave them the battle with all speed.
So then the Greeks gave the Israelites, the ones that fled, the battle really fast. They flew upon them through anger. Go ahead.
Howbeit they answered them not, neither cast they a stone at them.
So they didn't even try to protect themselves. Why? Because they were upholding the Sabbath day. They didn't want to profane it by fighting, being in violence, getting out of the spirit. They didn't want to do none of that. Because in their mind, they're like, this is the righteous thing to do. Go ahead.
Nor stop the places where they lay hid.
Nor stop the places. They didn't even try and barricade to keep them out. Remember, I'm going to correlate this until today. What will we do in the event of something like this would happen? We would do the complete opposite of this. You'd have to protect yourself. Don't lose your life. You'd have to protect yourself. You'd have to stop the place where you in. Say, for instance, you go away from home, you come to class, you get home, and somebody didn't kick your door in or something. You just leave the door broken like that. Oh, it's the Sabbath. I get it all the time. People be pissed. They're like, oh man, somebody kicked my door in, they're cussing, fussing, somebody did this. Hey, just go in, screw the door closed, stop it back up. You gotta go and stop it back up. It's the Sabbath. What, you just gonna leave it open for them to come in? You just gotta stop it back up. I mean, if you got the stuff to stop it back up, but don't go into the store to purchase it. That's that sheep that the Messiah said that fell in the ditch for them. That's that human that fell in the ditch to him. This is your circumstance that fell in the ditch to you. You're not going to be demonized for, you got to bar the door up. It's the Sabbath. I ain't say build a house, brother. I said, stick the door back up there and stick a screw in it to keep the people from coming back in on you. So. But let's finish this. This little part here. Go ahead.
Verse 37. But said, let us die all in our innocency. Heaven and earth shall testify for us that ye put us to death wrongfully.
Right. So they did put him to death wrongfully. And we're not trying to just be an easy prey to somebody. It's the best that you possibly can, preserve their life. So everybody understand that? And if you ever in doubt, go without. But if you're in doubt, just ask the question. A lot of people will do things and then ask. You already fulfilled your will. I know you're asking for edification, but you should have asked for edification before. And some people try to avoid being hindered in certain things that they want to do. Don't have that type of mindset. Ask before so that you can know exactly from experience what you should do. and don't do what you want to do, because a judgment could come behind what you did, even though you turn around and you ask for advice. The advice is not going to save you. You already broke the law of the Most High. Okay? So go ahead.
So they rose up against them in battle on the Sabbath, and they slew them with their wives and children and their cattle to the number of 1,000 people.
Wow. So that was a great slaughter right there. And you ain't never finding this in no history book there. So if somebody was to try to oppress us or destroy us on the Sabbath day, we would definitely have to defend ourselves and not just let them destroy us on the Sabbath, because we're like, oh, it's the Sabbath day. Now, when Mattathias and his friends understood hereof, they mourned for them right sore. Go ahead, verse 40.
And one of them said to another, if we all do as our brethren have done, and fight not for our lives and laws against the heathen, they will now quickly root us out of the earth. After that time, therefore, they decreed, saying, whosoever shall come to make battle with us on the Sabbath day, we will fight against him. Neither will we die all as our brethren that were murdered in the secret place.
All right, so that's it. So even them, they selves like, man, if somebody come and mess with us on the Sabbath day, we'll have to defend ourselves to avoid being murdered like our brothers did. Okay, what is it?
So you said something important earlier. You said that like if the Pharisees lie. Same thing how when Yahushua was being tempted by Satan, he kept doing precepts of like if you the son of the Most High, you can do this and that. He wasn't lying, but he was using it in the wrong application. The same way how he did in the beginning when he told Eve, he was like, if you eat from this tree, you're gonna be like God, knowing good and evil. And when she ate, they died, but she knew good from evil. So he used the truth to deceive and use it the wrong way. So that's the same thing that the Pharisees, they was using it in a way to be deceived. You know what I'm saying? So that's all I have to say.
All right, so that's it. I'll wait for the next topic, so I don't just chop it up, the topic of being offended. So is there anything else pertaining to the Sabbath? Any questions? The Sabbath should be observed, though, and it should be observed to the best of your ability. And if there's somebody that, there's no buying, selling, cooking, cleaning, laborers work, but keeping it holy, there should be a holy convocation. And if there's somebody that has certain things that they're doing that you profane on the Sabbath, then you should quit. And if you have a job and things like that, then just look for a different job. And then it's hard in these times, but that's between you and the Most High. Every man and his faith towards the Most High help him to get him or herself together through faith and applying the scriptures. So that's it. Matthew 26.
Matthew chapter 26, verse 6. Now when Yahushua was in Bethany, in the house of Simon the leper, there came unto him a woman having an alabaster box of very precious ointment.
That's probably the school stuff.
And poured it on his head as he sat at meat. But when his disciples saw it, they had indignation, saying, To what purpose is this waste? For this ointment might have been sold for much and given to the poor. When Yahweh understood it, he said unto them, why trouble ye the woman? For she had wrought a good work upon me.
For you have the poor always with you.
For ye have the poor always with you, but me ye have not always. For in that she had poured this ointment on my body, she did it for my burial. Verily I say unto you, wheresoever this gospel shall be preached in the whole world, there shall also this that the woman had done be told for a memorial of her. So I want to give all praise to the Most High and for giving this woman Mary a spirit to comfort Christ before his burial and to show actions of a humble and contrite heart for her sins. 1 Corinthians 11 and 23. For I have received of the Lord that which also I delivered unto you, that the Lord Yahweh shall the same night in which he was betrayed took bread. And when he had given thanks, he brake it and said, take, eat, this is my body, which is broken for you. This do in remembrance of me. After the same manner also, he took the cup, when he had supped, saying, this cup is the New Testament in my blood. This do ye as oft as ye drink it in remembrance of me. For as oft as ye eat this bread and drink of this cup, ye do show the Lord's death till he come. Wherefore, whosoever shall eat this bread and drink this cup of the Lord unworthily shall be guilty of the body and blood of the Lord. But let a man examine himself, and so let him eat of that bread and drink of that cup. For he that eateth and drinketh unworthily eateth and drinketh damnation to himself, not discerning the Lord's body. For this cause many are weak and sickly among you, and many sleep. For if we would judge ourselves, we should not be judged. But when we are judged, we are chastened of the Lord, that we should not be condemned with the world.
That's it. All right. So it's your Most High in the name of Christ. Thank you for the food and drink, amen. This is Bible broken for you. Okay, this is blood. Okay, that's it.
Tough.
Okay, Israel. If every man was just like me, what kind of sanctuary would this be? The Lord's Prayer, Matthew 6:9. Our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. In Yahweh's name we pray, amen.
Amen.
The laborer's prayer, Luke 10:2. Therefore said he unto them, the harvest truly is great, but the labors are few. Pray therefore the Lord of the harvest, that he will send forth laborers into his harvest. Bless you, most high King of heaven and earth, and all things most high, in the name of the Christ. Send more disciples and teachers to your harvest, to gather your people in Israel, and send counsel behind your laws, to stand before thy people in Israel. Give to us strength to break down our lives with thy word. In Christ's name we pray, amen.
Amen.
The blessing of Israel. Numbers chapter 6:24. Children of Israel, the Lord bless thee and keep thee. The Lord make his face shine upon thee and be gracious unto thee. The Lord lift up his countenance upon thee and give thee peace. In the Christ's name we pray, amen.
Amen.
Kwam Yasha.
Kwam Yashala.
Kwam Yasha.
Kwam Yashala.
Kwam Yasha.
Kwam Yashala. Okay, Israel. Children of Israel, bless one another. Most high name of Christ, bless you all.
We've been waiting on
We've been waiting for that. Hey, and I don't know how to do, but I'm like, okay, yeah, give me about 6 months. All right, Israel. Most high in Christ, bless. Good night.
That's it.
To lay up, no.